Good afternoon. Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower others to a fulfilling, healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so that you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. We should lift each other up with encouragement and positivity. We are firmly here to serve each other. And I am driven by the desire to leave the world better than the one we inherited and relish the opportunity to make a difference one person at a time. Today on our show, we have Ed Turney, who has been a professional in the fitness industry since 2004. He owns and operates Rocky Point Kickboxing, which is a kickboxing location for women only, so he works with women. He holds several certifications in both fitness and East Asian medicine. Mr. Turney uses his 20 years of martial arts and fitness knowledge to help others attain their goals. Welcome, Ed. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. I'm so intimidated now because you have the perfect radio voice I've ever heard. I'm like, now I'm hearing my voice and I'm like, you're perfect on air.
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. I got that husky I've been singing all weekend thing going on this morning.
Yeah. Super cool.
How are you?
Really good. Having the best day ever.
Excellent.
Really excited to be here. And our mutual friend Liz Folk, she told me that you were the best and I had to be on the show, and I think we texted immediately.
We did. We started talking immediately.
And I was in China for I think 10 days, and you had originally asked me for the first week, and I was like, I hate saying no, but I'm not in the country.
Yes.
And then as soon as we got back, we came in.
Why were you at China? Were you
just to study medicine?
Nice.
I try to go once every summer for about a week. We live in the monastery with the monks. We hang out. It's like unplug and kind of reset everything, and then I always come back, as these guys will tell you, like on fire.
Nice. Yeah, because you clear it out and then you have room for more.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and Liz, who Ed and I are referring to, you've heard from before. Liz is from All Hands Acupuncture and Massage Therapy. She is wonderful,
excellent practitioner.
Sweet practitioner, just a good human being, and is out there helping others empower themselves and right along the same mantra that we have. Speaking of which, let's talk about how you empower women and how your kickboxing studio does that.
Sure. So, I would say 85 to 90% of the women that come to the gym are moms. And one of the biggest things that we found that moms struggle with is just always putting everybody else first, and then mom comes last.
Oh, yeah.
And do you have kids?
I do. They're grown, but yes,
gotcha. So you maybe had that evolution, right?
I definitely do. I still do.
Yeah,
I still
go through it, right?
Yes.
And so I nicknamed it the mom syndrome, right? So everybody, everyone comes first, kids, husband, friends, everybody, and then last comes mom. And I noticed that the health of those moms is always the worst, right? Mental health, physical health, spirit, everything, right? And I said, if we could make a platform where they can truly understand that if they take a little bit of selfish time, right, quote unquote selfish time, that they would be stronger and more empowered for themselves and more empowered for everybody else around them. And so I've been really just blessed and honored to have amazing women come through the doors and had that transformation where they were acting and thinking one way, and then they took a chance on themselves, and then 6 months, 12 months, a year, they're just radically different people. And they lose all the weight and all that stuff, and they get fit. But I don't think that's as hard to do as change someone's mindset.
It's agreed. It's giving yourself permission to invest in yourself. But if you're not replenished investing in yourself, who's going to, right?
Exactly. It's the whole empty cup thing.
So how do you change their mindset? How do you go through that rhythm? Take us through it.
It's a good question. So I think everybody has to start with getting delivered what they think they need first, right? So people I think I need to lose 10 pounds to feel better. Now, that's not really the case, right? Now, you look better, you feel better, 100%. But going through the process of setting the small goal of 10 pounds or 15 pounds or just committing to a gym for the first time. We have so many moms that have never been to a gym ever because they're like, I feel intimidated.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah, I want to be those young girls. They're all in perfect shape. They all got abs and six packs, and I can't do that, or the muscle heads, and they feel like I can't go to that gym.
You can't breathe going up a flight of stairs, and needless to say, go through a whole class. So that's really intimidating. So how do we get our listeners over that hurdle and get them to come out and do do something for
I think you
themselves.
have to see people that are like you that are doing it. I think the moment you see someone that looks like you, sounds like you, has your issues, your problems, and you're like, oh, they did it, now I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on. We try to record everybody's success story. We call them rockstar stories because our big thing is, rockstar, right? We actually end every class by going, we clap and we go, rock stars. It's real cheesy, but it makes everybody feel like empowered,
Absolutely.
So
it's not cheesy. It's good.
Yeah,
We're lifting each other up.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
empowerment can be cheesy, but yet it still works, right? So I stick with it, right?
All right. Empowerment to me is empowerment, so I don't find it cheesy, but I understand it could be perceived as that looking in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
From the outside, when you're not experiencing it,
Yes.
and you just from the outside, you're like, what is this? Is this real? But like if you're a mom of 3 young kids and you need to lose a certain amount of weight and feel better about yourself, and then you watch a story of someone just like you, and you're like, oh, she did it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
So being surrounded by positive success stories, not people holding you down. And I find a lot of the times like moms are like listening to their circle that's negative or toxic, or they're not lifting them up, and they're like, oh, I can never do it. But when you see other people, every single day,
Yes.
then you start to believe in yourself. I think the only way to start to build confidence is to be surrounded by that positive environment.
Also, you if you have that kind of environment where it's negative and you just listen to the conversations, if they're always negative, you need to find a different circle.
Yeah.
And no,
which can be hard.
No disrespect for the people. That doesn't mean you can't spend time with them, but you really need to be surrounded by positivity.
100%.
That changes everyone's day. And I always refer to it, our listeners hear me say this all the time. It's a focus change. It's like having 2 cameras.
Yes.
Camera 1 is the negative way of looking at things. And yeah, sometimes we can get involved in that. Or you can change the focus to camera 2. Camera 2 is looking at it from a positive angle. That same scenario, those same information comes at you a different way when you're looking at it from a positivity. So this is a really good positive way to change things for yourself a little bit at a time. I like what you said before. Could be just one day a week, or this way you start small, and as you lose those 10 pounds, and I never look at things anymore. I try not to as, oh my gosh, I want ultimately 50 pounds,
right?
But I'm looking at 10 at a time.
Right. Yep.
So I was speaking to a really amazing inspirationalist, and he said he was a Marine, and he would take 5 minutes at a time. So it's 5 minutes at a time.
Yep.
And he got from getting up in the morning to having breakfast. And from breakfast, how was he going to get to lunch? And from lunch, how was he going to get to dinner? And by doing that, it just made everything in bite sizes.
I think we're always in momentum, right? It's either positive momentum, negative momentum, right? You wake up and you do your morning rituals, or you have a good breakfast, or you get your workout in, your day is on a positive momentum curve. And then same thing for the week, for the month, for the year. And I think too many of us start spiraling because it's easier to make the toxic choice sometimes, right?
Yes.
To be angry, to be bitter,
Excuses,
to make excuses, to be all that stuff. That's easier.
It justifies not doing something.
Exactly.
So those negative people, those justifications, those negative thoughts, those excuses give you cause for, wow, that's why I can't do it. No. Let's look at it from a different angle.
Right. And when just the way our brains are wired, if you want to believe that it's not going to work, you will find every piece of evidence to prove that it will not work.
Yes.
But if you believe that it will work, you'll find everything to support it and encourage you, So it's funny, our brains are wired to protect us from pain and suffering and everything else. But if you can make that mindset switch of, no, this is going to get me to where I need to be, or just have gratitude for the moment of like, some people come in on day 1, I'm like, listen, the hard part's over. Yeah, we're going to sweat and burn and do burpees and push. Yeah, it's going to happen, but the hard part's over. You already took the action.
You walked through the door.
The hardest thing is walking through the door.
Yeah.
And that's why we're just obsessed with putting out content like this and video and success stories and highlighting all the women, so people can be like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. Because self-esteem, it's crazy how fast it can drop.
Yeah.
Like I have it, right? Like I'll be feeling really good, and then something will just chop me down, and then I got to rebuild it back up. Like it's either positive momentum, negative momentum.
But that building back up, once you're used to doing it,
you do it faster.
Acknowledge it. Yeah, that learning curve is a lot faster. So that positivity comes right back up, and you look at it and go, okay.
Yeah.
But that's not me. That's you.
Right.
I'm not going to buy into that. That's not where I am. And I'm going to go on my happy way. It's like starting your day. If you ever start your day with, oh my God, this is going to be so rough.
Right.
It's going to be rough. I
Right.
guarantee you it's
Right.
going to be rough. If you
Yep.
wake up in the morning and go, okay, let's go, let's go tackle this day. It's going to be a good day.
Yep.
It really ends up being a good day. And those challenges don't seem as challenging. And
Right.
the day is good. And you just go in with a positive attitude. I used to go, oh yeah, positive attitude, positive. You know
Right.
what?
It's so real. It's real.
It really is.
Yeah, and a lot of people get, like they hear that, and I have a lot of friends, like close friends, and they're just like, yeah, all that positive motivation nonsense you're listening to. I'm like, I know, but the first thing that goes into my ears in the morning is going to really dictate my day. And if I'm having a rough morning and I can't get myself out of it, I need something else to get me out of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful that I recognize that enough, that if I can just turn on the right podcast, the right show, the right whatever for a few minutes to get that in my brain, and then that'll kind of reset the chemistry for the moment.
Right, and that terminology, air quote, the right,
Yeah.
is individual. Each
Yes.
person responds differently. So you have to find whatever works for you,
yeah.
to get you motivated, to get you to that positive, to do what we were talking about before we went on air, which is not stay in the bucket with the crabs.
Yes.
Come out, elevate, vibrate higher, have white light, get yourself to a position where you're in that positive place, and you'll find, like attracts like. So when you're positive, you're going to find all those positive
It's
people.
incredible.
And then you start spreading it and paying it forward. And to me, that's what I do. I might see somebody who looks like they're having a hard day. Just a nice compliment. Find something good to say to them. Will elevate them a little higher. It may be but it starts at a little bit.
Even if you only want to make yourself have a better day, go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Like there's just something about the dopamine and endorphins that get released by helping other people.
Oh my
So even if
gosh.
you don't want to, even if you're the most selfish person in the world, go help other people because you'll feel better.
Serving others, and that's what
That's
I
it.
start. You heard what my opening always is that we're here to serve other people, and you will feel better. You feel better. First, you
like
take
magic.
the focus off of yourself, and you look at what they're going through, and comparatively speaking, and this is always where, when I'm in a really bad place, I always go, you know what? There are people in worse places than I am. Stop it. Just stop.
Yeah, I mean-
Let's start being by having gratitude for what you do have.
Yeah.
So bringing them into your kickboxing, take us through, how do you
What it's
motivate? So now I'm in the front door and I'm sitting there scared to death,
Right.
thinking I can't compete with the other people in the room. They all have
Right.
experience. I'm new. I'm not coordinated. How do I get over that? How do you help me?
Well, something I would recommend, and I actually help a lot of other gym owners around the country do this as well, is make sure that the person feels comfortable before they walk in, because people are going to be nervous. So we like to call them, send them messages, video messages, send them success stories of people like them, send them cards in the mail, like make them feel part of the family already, because the nervousness will deter them from actually showing up, especially the people that need us the most, the people that need the fitness coach, the people that need the gym like ours, right?
Yes.
And I mean, there's hundreds of wonderful gyms like this that do the same thing.
Sure.
The people that need that are going to be the most nervous to show up. So go above and beyond before they walk in. And then when they walk in, they have to be the most important person in the world.
You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia, and we are speaking with Ed Turney from Rocky Point Kickboxing. So on that note, Ed, having them come in, and so your team reaches out to people who are joining or thinking about joining.
Yep.
How does that go about? How do I, as someone who hasn't contacted you, how do I contact you to speak to your team?
So, for example, like if you saw us on Facebook or on our website and you bought a 20...
And what is your website?
Oh, it's Long Island Shaolin, SHAOLIN.com. But if you Google Rocky Point Kickboxing, you'll find it.
Rocky Point Kickboxing.
We're on
okay.
Facebook 1,700 times an hour.
1,700 times an hour.
At least.
You guys should go out and take a break.
No, we don't do enough. These guys will tell you we don't do enough.
There you go.
Well, because social media is the biggest leverage that we have in society.
To communicate.
Yeah. And you could do it in a negative way if that's who you are, and you can do it in a positive way, but I just think that social media brings out who you naturally are, just like the radio or whatever form of communication is going to bring out who you are.
Yeah.
Like if you had some vindictive thing, that's what this platform be for. That you want to spread light and lift people up.
Yes.
That's how I use your platform.
Yes.
So we're obsessed with just flooding Facebook and our community with positivity and optimism and helping and giving and giving and giving.
So somebody goes on Facebook, reaches out, your team calls them.
We call them,
welcomes
we set up their first appointment. They They have a personal coach on day one to work directly with them inside the class to feel super comfortable. The moment they walk in, we're literally waiting for them with brand new gloves and water or Gatorade, whatever they need. And then we're just going to really walk them through the process and make sure they feel incredibly comfortable, not pressured. It's not boot camp, yell and scream and negative reinforcement. We don't believe in that. And it's just a ton of support.
So I've never done it before.
Okay.
Per se, I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting.
Right. Yep.
But it's vibrate.
Yes.
You know, the vitalization that you feel from it when you walk out of it and that you made it through and you're still breathing was really, really good.
The accomplishment.
Yeah, it's absolutely real. And you feel accomplished.
Yep.
And it really isn't truly that difficult. It's just staying up.
Yes.
And keeping up. And I'm very self-competitive. So
right.
by being self-competitive, I just constantly push myself going, you could do better. Inside, I'm having all these voices going on. So other than the other voices, we won't talk about those.
Right.
But so,
as most entrepreneurs are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the constantly pushing.
Yeah.
So how does your team help somebody new there with their brand new spanky boxing gloves?
I think it's all pre-framing. You know, it's all pre-framing and letting people know.
What does that mean to our listeners?
To let people know this is exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
This is what we expect from you. You know, we're going to make sure that you don't do 100% today. I want you to do 50 or 60% today because it's not about today. It's about the rest of your life.
Right.
And just really taking it one step at a time. Like you talked about that Marine, one step at a time.
Yeah.
But too many of us, because of whatever reason, maybe society, media pressure, we want to be perfect out the gate. And we really just, drive home that perfection isn't real and not to worry about that. And when you see all shapes and sizes, all ages, all personalities, and there's a lot of personalities in our wacky gym, you feel comfortable and you feel supported.
That's nice. And how long are the classes?
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Tight 45 minutes.
Constant going.
Yeah. So we do the more challenging things in the beginning to get it over with when you're most fresh and you get the most out of it.
Makes sense.
And then the most fun stuff at the end. So it's the opposite of most workouts where it's like slow start, miserable finish, and then you feel defeated. I was like, why don't we do the opposite of that? Why don't we feel like incredibly empowered, accomplished at the end? And, lots of high fives, lots of jokes,
nice.
Lots of the Rockstar claps.
What are the other things you get out of doing kickboxing?
Other than the physical results?
Yes.
I think taking time for yourself. I think, meditation is about to explode in America, right?
I love meditating.
It's getting, I remember reading one stat, it was like from 7% to like 14% of Americans are actively meditating from like 2012 to this year. Still a very small, portion.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be the main thing that we do. I think we'll all have memberships to meditation centers like we have memberships to gyms. I really believe that it's coming in the next 10 years. But I think right now, high energy, active workouts are people's meditation. Running is people's meditation. Kickboxing is people's meditation. We need to unplug from the crazy, right? All the thoughts, all the voices, all day long. And if you can do that 45 minutes a day, for just a couple days a week, it just resets you. Like me in China for 8 days, you reset a little bit and you come back. The amount of reflecting and thinking and reading and just, contemplating that I did because I was so quiet. I'm sitting in the monastery. It's so quiet, right?
Yeah.
I have so much time. We all need that. And especially a mom with 2 or 3 kids and works full time and has to do the cook, everything, right? Like she's got 2 full-time jobs, 1 regular job, 1 mom job, which is the hardest job ever. She needs that time to reset and be around other women.
We all need silence, of some sort or another.
And silence can be loud kickboxing music.
It could be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That silence is defined in many ways.
Exactly.
It could be kickboxing music
So
and doing kickboxing. It could be running. I know myself on my motorcycle, I love unhooking. But I was just having this conversation this morning with a colleague of mine about how we are 24/7 now with our cell phones and digital and constant have incoming. So we're constantly getting input coming into us that we have to filter and process, and it's exhausting.
Right.
So plus then you have children speaking. If you're a mom, you have the children coming at you with their concerns, trying to problem solve that. I always tell people my best negotiation skills were learned when I was raising my sons because I spent my days 24/7 negotiating, constantly in negotiations.
Yeah.
So it was a really good business tool that moms come out of. They are the best negotiators ever, as are dads who are dealing with their children. So
moms have an edge, though. Moms have a different edge.
Well, it's just a different approach. That's all. There's a different thing, but always having that. So I agree with you. I see that. I'll always smile when I hear somebody else taking up meditation. I think that's a really good thing you do for yourself. It's a great way to clear your mind. And as I've said to people before, it's a concept where people think you go completely blank. No. You don't. No. You don't. It's not what people's perceptions are, and as they learn, it's just quieting the mind and getting the chatter to stop in your mind.
And I also say a lot of times with meditation, you focus on one other thing, like one visual thing, one sound, one whatever, one candle. When you focus on one thing, you don't think about the other thing. So in a sense, you're thinking about nothing. But the whole let's sit and think about nothing. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Right? Like, that's not going to happen unless you're some natural master of the universe. But focusing on something else intensely for even 5 minutes a morning is going to kind of let your brain reset. Yeah,
it kind of silences it. Yeah. And then you're going to find you actually like that silence, and you look for it and you yearn it. Yeah. So it's a really good thing. I really appreciate you being on, Ed. If you were to give one inspirational statement, what would it be?
I think the more empathy we can show for people day to day is going to make a dramatic long-term effect. So just like when someone cuts you off, when someone is rude to you at Starbucks, when something goes wrong, just try to have empathy for that person and try to see it from their perspective. And one, you'll feel better, and two, you're just going to keep more light in the world.
That is beautiful. Yes. Remember, they must be going through something really difficult. Is. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you can come back on
anytime
in the future. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
We will be right back. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne Casdia, and we'll talk in a few. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas on topics you'd like to hear more about, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com and follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. We are coming back to speak to Chris Hart, who is an energy shifter who is passionate about sharing her authentic self to help others realize their self-worth and value. She is open about the challenges that she has faced and how her utter faith and trust in the higher being has given her a new lease on life. I so get that. I'm walking down that path now, Chris. You have no idea. She is a dedicated meditator and believes it plays a vital role in maintaining her inner landscape. I agree with that. It is playing a vital role in my life as well. Her goal is to be an international speaker, uplifting others through her honesty and humor. She is a stand-up as well, which I find just exhilarating, and is a dedicated life learner. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, and I'm blessed to be here.
Oh my gosh. We're blessed to have you here, and I know our listeners are going to be excited about this. So what drives you? Let's talk about your guided experience.
Well, my journey began when I turned 42, and that is a pivotal year. If you look into astrology, which I'm just dabbling into anyway, 42, the soul reawakens, things happen, and it's a return to things that happens in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, throughout your entire life. You're given this opportunity to wake up and shake up things that are no longer serving you.
Okay.
What was not serving me, unfortunately, was my marriage, so I made the huge decision to get divorced after 19 years of marriage, which, as an Irish Catholic, is not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
But because of that, I got me back. My self-esteem came back. I learned to meditate through A Course in Miracles, and I started with a minute a day. Now I do it 3 times a day. It centers me. I get energy from it. I get solace. I get ideas. It's so soul-opening and eye-opening. It just gives you a new appreciation for who you are, which we are spiritual beings living a physical life.
Right.
And that we're all connected.
Right.
So I teach meditation. I'm a high school teacher. I start my class with it, and I share with the students a reminder of how valuable they are, because we forget.
So let's back up for a second, because you said something we hear a lot, but I want you to qualify it. You said we're spiritual people here living a life, right? What does that really mean to someone who doesn't understand it? I understand it because I've transcended.
Right.
But what does that mean to our listeners?
It means there's more to life than this realm. The body is just a suit.
Yeah.
And once it falls away, we're still here in some form. You see it with animals. You see it with someone says something that you were thinking about and they say it to validate whatever you were thinking about. Maybe you're going through a particular struggle and you really need assistance. That's where your spirituality and the spiritual being of you comes through. But you have to believe and you have to trust.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I finally discovered this, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I've discovered that the reason why you have to believe is because if you believe, your eyes are open and you see it. It's always been there. It's just I wasn't seeing it. And all of a sudden, I don't believe in coincidences. And there would be certain songs on the radio saying exactly what I needed to hear. And I'd be like, wow, that's freaky. But no, there was a reason for that. There'd be signs that I had never noticed before. There were literal signs that I had never noticed before that was germane to whatever was going on to give me the answers. It was almost like a movie where things were just like being thrown in front of me and saying, hey, hello, trying to help you here. Just pick it up. Just pick it up. You know, we're throwing it down. We need you to pick it up. And also we come here fully prepared with every tool that we need. We just have to recognize it within ourselves. So we don't need that external validation. It's all here.
Yeah.
Hence the meditation has you re-speaking and re-looking and focusing within yourself because we have it.
Yeah. One of the most powerful meditations I've learned through Greg Braden is the heart meditation. When you drop from head space to heart space and you breathe in there, and you ask your questions, the heart answers so fast.
So what's the heart meditation?
It's Greg Braden. Right. He's amazing. You get quiet as best you can. We think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day and half are negative. So I understand that's very difficult to do. That's where the breath comes in, even if you just focus on in and out breath. But you get quiet as best you can.
Right.
And attention goes where physical touch goes. So if you're literally touching your heart center, you're going to feel maybe swirls of energy, maybe your heartbeat, a pressure, a sensation. The best to your ability, breathe into that. I find if I breathe and I think of green, because green is a healing color, it brings me to that place. Now, even a bad meditation is good meditation because you made an attempt to experience something. But I find the more you do anything, you're just going to get better and better. Right. But your heart will answer you so quickly. What do I really want?
It's true. It really does. And actually throwing out that question to the universe or asking for help. I just need help. I need you to help me. It comes. Totally. It really comes. The first couple of times I did it, I'm like, oh, look at that.
I know.
And then you go in there and you're like, let me just see if this really works. And you throw something else out and bam, it answers. And you're like, oh my God. So it's really, it really is. And the self-worth is so huge. And that helps you change that camera lens that we spoke about in the first segment, which is going from that negativity to the positivity and knowing that there's value and worth and you're deserving of being treated a certain way with respect and giving that. You got to give it to get it too.
Amen.
It's not a one-way thing. You absolutely have to put it out there. So how do you get how do you get to what you're doing? How do you help people with their self-esteem and understanding their own self-worth?
I think by sharing the true struggles that you've gone through. I've been fired from jobs. It's funny, you had thrown out, what's your most embarrassing moment? I'm like, oh God, there's so many. And they're constant.
Let me narrow this down. I know, I got it too.
But the great embarrassment, I'm an educator, and I was fired, and I was devastated. I was 30. I couldn't share that story for years until I started running these workshops. And I figured, you know what? I'm in a room with educators, and your job is so precarious until you get tenure.
Right.
So you may think that you're not worthy because you lost the job, because I felt that.
Right.
Made me second guess everything.
Sure.
So I truly believe that as much as I can present who I am in my authenticity, I I know I'm impacting people because through these wonderful people, they send me emails. Thank you so much, Chris. You said this one word that resonated with me. And I always say with my groups, thank you, because someone's going to say something to me by the end of this that will have meant something to me. And
Yes.
every single time I present, it happens.
Yeah, it happens with me as well when speaking with people and speaking with different guests and out in the world. I always am getting something from someone else and they're saying exactly what it is. Not that I want to hear, because if I want to hear what I want to hear, I'll just talk to myself because I'll tell myself anything I want. You know what I mean? But if I get what I need to hear and it gets vibrated back to me, and there's always learning going on. There's always multi-directional anytime you're in a teaching environment.
Totally.
The teacher learns as well. When you find somebody where they're not learning, they're not really teaching either, because they're not giving and getting. It goes back. The universe is reciprocal. It goes back and forth. Things go back and forth. I like what you said about the authentic and genuine. We hear that a lot in people's conversations these days. But being genuine, you're the best you. And I've always said, and I guess I must have read it someplace, but I really believe this. I'm the best me because everybody else is taken. So I need to be the best me, and I need to be the authentic me. And that means being vulnerable. And that means getting over some bad experiences. And that means maybe not always making the right decisions, but really having the best intention. And it's about intent and being the best you. So how do you help people progress forward? Let's talk about what you do, because you deal with angels, and let's talk about that.
I feel like I'm here just to remind you. I'm some people are like, oh, Chris, you're a guru. I'm like, I'm so far from that. And that was something that you don't ever want that label. I'm a messenger to remind you of your worth. And I do that by doing the guided meditation, by sharing any signs that I've seen. When I decided to get divorced, I was freaked out. I was driving and I just said, oh, dear God, I need a sign. And right in front of me, don't give up. License plates. So if I'm getting a sign, you can get a sign.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Turn it over. And I also find do not attach to the outcome. So I think I just kind of speak very practically, and I'm down to earth. And I know people sense that because I don't know how to be any other way.
No, that's good.
And when I'm with my groups, I honestly don't know what I'm going to say. I get really quiet and I just ask for you to come through me. And I'll just give them tons of things. Like people are stressed all the time. So peace begins with me. It's Kundalini. It's yoga. You touch the fingertips. It's tactile. It's soothing. I see people and they'll just do this.
Okay. So what this is that you're taking your hands, your thumb, and putting it to your first finger and saying peace. Second finger begins with third finger me.
Yep.
And you just keep doing that.
Yep.
And so your thumb to your first finger, second finger, ring finger, and pinky. That's really nice. That is actually a mini meditation. And it can start as simply as that at a stoplight. You know how Mom used to say count to 10? This is a different version of count to 10. It just gives you also a positive reinforcement instead of just counting to 10, which nothing wrong. If that works for you, count to 10, count
right.
away. But peace begins with me allows you to really reinforce that positivity is what I'm getting from this. And we're all delivery people. We're here to share with each other. We're here to serve each other. We're here to lift each other up, not hold each other down. I get the greatest pleasure out of seeing other people's success. And if I've had anything to do with that, contributing to that, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a group. We all contribute to each other's successes. And there's plenty of room for all of us. And there's plenty of business for all of us. And there's plenty of space for all of us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And we need to lift each other up instead of being those crabs in the bucket. So what else do you do? Now, I know that we can reach out to you at livelimitlessliving@weebly.com. That's a great way to reach out to you to get your advice and talk more about the angels, because I'm all about the angels in my guiders.
The angels are just incredible. We've all had them. Now think of the stuff you see in nature. It's huge. The animal that gets your attention. Google it. What is the spiritual meaning of a red robin? And that's actually transformation. But you would have to read it till it hits you, because sometimes, you just got to read a little bit more. But I highly recommend being very aware of what's going on in nature, because there's nature angels. I'll share with you a quick story. My son was diagnosed with epilepsy it was 2 years ago. The way this transpired, we were in Woodloch Pines, indoor pool. My husband left with the other kids to get sneakers, whatever. And Finn came out of the pool and he goes, "Mommy, can I get a snack?" Goes, gets a snack, starts eating his M&Ms. Now, as he's eating his M&Ms, I was chatting with this woman. Everyone's in their bathing suits. She's not. She's in linen clothes. She had kids of all different ethnicities around her. I just thought that was interesting. Maybe thinking, maybe she adopted.
Observation.
My son goes into a grand mal seizure. I had never seen one in my life. So I was horrified. So I yelled for help for the lifeguards. So of course they run like slow.
It seems like slow-mo. They're not, but it feels like that when you're in panic mode.
Right.
Yeah.
And she just turned to me. She goes, "Mom, he's having a seizure. He can hear you." So she stood with me at the top. Her husband was down at my son's feet, talking him through it. It was, now when I look back, it was a very long seizure. It was up to 2 minutes, because now his seizures have changed.
Yes.
That was divine intervention. They were angels, because once EMT came, I never saw them again. She looked at me at one point and mouthed, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, thank you." And they were gone.
Yeah.
Now, Woodloch Pine, you see the same people. And it was odd that no one had bathing suits on. No one in their party. They were there for
wild.
me. So that was a physical one.
Yes.
But angels answer me with conversation.
Yes.
Colors.
Yes.
Big time with colors. I had to put my cat down and yellow came up. I was seeing yellow everywhere. So it reaffirmed, yes, you're doing the right thing. You love her so much. You're doing the right thing.
When you see things, be it numbers, and there are angel numbers, when you see repetitive numbers or repetitive colors or repetitive birds, I have a lot of red robins around me lately, like sitting on my front lawn. I'll walk by. They're still there. They just stay there. I was like, okay. I just had an owl that...
Ooh, owls are powerful.
Owl, unfortunately, had passed and was found. I found her right by my mailbox. I was going in my mailbox and I looked down and there's a bird and I'm like, oh no. So, my first instinct is I better take care of the bird and go bury it. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's an owl. Now I've had an owl family before at my house, 3 little owls. And I haven't seen them in a while. And then when I saw her and she was beautiful, I was like, oh my God, this is definitely a message, because she knows I'm going to take care of her. So of course I call DEC, make sure that they take care of her, because you're not legally allowed to take owls, even to bury them.
Wow.
But that was a huge message. And now I have all these red robins. And so there's definitely messages coming in. And in the past, I might not have noticed. The other thing I've noticed, fireflies. I have never seen so many fireflies since I was a little girl. And now they are in my backyards at dusk time.
Ooh.
Back in front yard looks like twinkle stars. There are so many of them.
Wow, you really got to Google that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, when you see repetitive things, Google it. The information's out there, and just read. And I have a rule of a source of 3. You Google something and you look at 3 different sources, and when you see the message is the same in all 3, there's your message. So there are things always coming at you, and we have angels around us all the time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love doing angel meditations where you sit quiet again. You invite whatever you're going through, career, finance, weight, relationship, whatever. You invite that angel into your mind and you just wait. Is there any subtle changes with the energy around you? Did you anything? Just be open.
Yeah.
Then ask for the angel to stand behind you and rest their hands on your shoulders. I feel swirls. Like, it's the coolest.
Yeah. Everybody feels something different.
Yes.
And it's different for you, but it is a belief thing. You have to have faith. You have to have belief.
Yes. Believe, receive.
Yes. Gary Joseph talks about belief all the time. Oh no, adore Gary. Always talks about having faith and belief. And not only do we have to have belief in this, but we have to have belief in ourselves. And that's where worth comes. That's where our value comes. If we don't believe in ourselves, we get constant input from social media, from being constantly connected. That's why the meditation, that disconnect, the getting away from some of this stuff, just for a little period of time. I know I'm in public relations and marketing. I have no choice but to be involved in it. And it's not a no choice because I don't want to, because I do. I love what I do. And it's great to be able to help businesses become even more successful and help utilize these platforms. They're great, wonderful platforms if used properly. But these platforms can also be bullying, and these platforms can be very manipulative, and they're always constantly in your face. So having and teaching our children and ourselves having that disconnect periodically is really, really important to our self worth and value.
Absolutely.
And looking within and knowing that we're always surrounded by our angels. So when people transition, they're really still here. I feel my mom and dad. I know that they're around me. I know that there are other people who are very close and meaningful for me. I know when they're around because all of a sudden they'll come to mind very, very strong. So, a father figure of mine came to mind, not my father, who's always around me, but another person, another gentleman who took his place when he passed as a father figure. He came to mind really strenuously recently. And it was definitely telling me I'm on the right direction, because he was always very encouraging. And he was someone who always would say, how do you handle issues coming on? You just say next, because they're just going to keep coming. It's how you handle it. So I love your energy. You're so encouraging.
Thank you.
I'd love you to come back. We're not, completely done today, but I do want to circle back to reaching out to you. So Live Limitless Living at Weebly.com. I'll put your information up, of course, on our website, on our social media. I'd love you to come back and share more things. Talk about how you educate, how you share this in the education system. I'd love to see our children meditating every day. There's just great things coming out. If you can just do a little bit something for yourself, like I say, every day is really important. Thank you for being on, Chris.
Thank you.
Such a wonderful. I can't wait to have more experiences with you. Thank you again, all of you, for listening. In the meantime, follow us and send comments to us at social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. Thank you. Do a little bit something for yourself every day. Thank you for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia. Until next time, show up for you and show up big. Thank you so much. Have a great day.